connecting and hopping in. And so we're just going to give it one more minute or so while folks join the meeting. For those of you just joining, we're just going to give it a few more seconds here while folks come out of the waiting room and get connected, and then we'll get going. All right, so let's giddy up. Welcome everyone to the GSQ Quality Connection for August. It feels like we haven't been in the same space with one another for a little bit, so happy you're all here and appreciate your time. I think we've got some good pieces for you today and lots of opportunity for you all to engage. So just as a reminder, please keep yourself muted. Certainly, if you have something that you want to share, you are more than welcome to unmute. Raise your hand, throw something in the chat. We'll be paying attention to that. And like I said, there will be lots and lots of space for Q&A today. So if you haven't brought questions with you, start thinking about your wonderings, and there will be space for you to share that. My name is Christy Opsimer. I am the Director of Systems for Great Start to Quality. I do have some colleagues here also that might field some questions as we go through our time. We're going to talk a little bit more about some pieces of the improvement process and some updates. And so this is our standard agenda. We can certainly veer from that if you all have other things that you want to share, but we certainly do introductions and welcomings. We'll have a little bit of a presentation, updates and tips, and then, like I said, lots of space for Q&A. And so I think just the way I'd like to get started today is for folks to get their voice in the space, if we don't mind. And in the chat, if you could just say hello and maybe one word about how you're feeling today. It's a busy time. Some folks are coming off vacation and feeling rejuvenated. Some folks are preparing for lots of enrollments and feeling crazy. And so would welcome in the chat if you can indicate your name, say hello, and how you are feeling today. Teresa, yes, go ahead. You can unmute. Teresa, I see your hand up. That might have been an accident, but if you want to unmute and share, you certainly can.
Sorry, it was an accident. I don't know how I did that.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Busy, rushed, feeling busy. Yes, anticipatory. It's a good one. Lots of busyness. Oh, Christine, I'm so sorry. Back pain is the very worst, right? Like you can hardly breathe. I'm so sorry. Get well soon. Yeah, ready for new families. Busy, busy, busy. Well, keep them coming. I'd love to hear how everyone is. And again, so appreciate you being with us today with all of the busyness. We are all busy too, getting ready for new things to come this year. So just a reminder, talking about quality improvement process. Some of you are newly licensed, maybe new to Great Start to Quality, and just always want to ground ourselves in thinking about the continuous quality improvement process with Great Start to Quality, regardless of where programs are in the process. This is relevant conversation, and your questions are certainly welcome and appreciated. So I have lots of updates and tips for you all today, and many of them relate to the Great Start to Quality public profile that you all have as licensed programs. And this is where families go to search for care. You have an opportunity to access that certainly with the with the support of Resource Center staff if it's needed. But this is where you can indicate your program offerings, different things that you specialize in, maybe serving children with special needs or with allergies or medical conditions or those kinds of things. So really, really important that you spend some time in here making sure the information is accurate and up to date because parents rely on it. And it gets very frustrating when they pick the thing and it's out of date. So with that being said, what you're seeing here on the screen is a new feature that we want to share with all of you because we will be sort of testing and utilizing it to gather that up-to-date data. So what we have learned, just in a nutshell, is some of the full-time, part-time information that is in our system is inaccurate. And so we would love to be able to use a text feature to send to you all to say, hey, how you doing? Do you offer full-time? Do you offer part-time care? Or do you offer both? And you would pick 1, 2, or 3, whatever number you tell us. That information will go into this database in your profile, and then families will be able to search it. Super simple. You can do it at nap time. You can do it in your pajamas at night, whatever is easiest for you all. But then you're not having to log into the system. You can certainly do that as well. But we're hopeful that sort of these intermittent reminder texts to gather that updated information will be easy for you all and will certainly support families to find the care that's best for them. And so this is under your update data tab in your profile. There's a cell phone field here, so subscribe to SMS updates, and you have to check the box, which gives us permission to text you, right? Just like anytime you submit your text or your cell phone for a text in any other system. I am going to pause there, and I would love to hear questions, thoughts, and feedback, particularly about a text opportunity. Trepidation? I'm okay with that too. What thoughts might you have? Chat or on mute, either way is fine. Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Did you have a question or comment about the texting feature?
I was just trying to get on. I didn't know I was on. I was still working on getting on, and I don't have a question about the text, and I can see where I can see the cell phone text, subscribe.
Perfect.
All I have to do is put my name, address, and phone number.
Good question. So to clarify, this is inside of your public profile, and I will be sure to share the link so that you can, if you want during this call, you can play around with it. The things that are already in this sort of gray shading, that information is already in the system that comes from childcare licensing. So we already have that information. All you would have to do is enter your cell phone.
Okay.
And click that button. Yep.
Okay. Can I do that now or wait till it's over?
You can absolutely do that now.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. And we will be sending from the system an email to programs to say, hey, this thing is happening. You can click here to go right to your profile and log in and add this information and anything else you'd like to add, but specifically the cell phone piece. So it's a work in progress. I'm sure we'll learn lots as we sort of move through this, but we've had some really, really good success using it for some pilot programs. So really.
Okay, I got disconnected.
Oh, no, you're just fine. You're just fine.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, the video stopped. Oh, shoot.
That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and mute you to see if anyone else has other thoughts or questions.
I do have a question not related to the texting. Shall I wait till a different spot in the
Yep,
hour?
yep. Let me get through some of the updates and
Okay.
then we'll come back to you, Marcy, but absolutely. Okay. So, this is another piece of some of the new features in the system. So I just wanted to show you this as well. I am getting lots of folks interested in our job board. And so you might see through social media or through the loop that Great Start to Quality has a job board on the website and can share that information with you as well. If you have an opening at your program and you have posted on the job board, you can indicate, so this is that update data tab, and this one's in the About Our Program section. And it says, are you hiring at this time? And if you check yes, a button will show up on your profile that says job openings. So if you have families with kids that are looking to enroll, but they're also in the early childhood education field and they're looking for employment, right? They can connect right there and go right to the job board so they can look at openings. So that's yet another new option for you all to check out. And again, your resource center staff can help you sort of walk through some of this as well. So this, it just shows you, once you receive that text, sort of where that data will go. So remember I said it would go right into the system. So if you said both to full-time, part-time offerings, then it would check both of these. And then families would be able to search in that way. So just really streamlined. This also shows what is currently true in the system, and this sort of relates to the inaccuracies I was talking about. So this program certainly looks like it offers full-time care to me, but our system says part-time. And so we really need your help to make sure that this is accurate because we don't want families to see the wrong thing. So answer the text. Okay. Moving on, we're going to talk about the quality indicator guidance document. So if you've been through the process, you've certainly utilized this document to look at the indicators, better understand the kind of evidence that we're looking for, some of the tips and tricks that are really important to consider, and the why behind the indicators. And so since we've launched the Reimagine process in February of 2023, we've gotten lots of feedback. So you'll see this timeline here where we've been gathering feedback from providers and also resource center staff. And we're working on revisions based on that feedback. And so resource center staff will have a chance to take a look at that, give us some more feedback, and then pilot it with you all. So they may say, here's the new document. What do you think about it? Is the language easier to understand? Do these examples help you a little bit more than maybe in the past? And then we will continue to make revisions through November and then launch it at the beginning of 2025. So know that we hear you. We want to make those tools as easy to use as possible and to be as helpful as possible. And so we're working on that for you right now. What questions might you have about that? Okay, just know that it's coming and we appreciate any thoughts you might have. Okay, so we talked about the Great Start to Quality search system. This is inside of my registry and the quality improvement system. And so for those of you who have been through the process recently, are moving through the process, or thinking about starting the process, you may have heard that the 180 days that programs sort of had, and I'm going to speak in generalities, so there's lots of details here, but that programs have to sort of move through the process to maintain their quality level, we've extended to 240 days. We heard from both providers and from resource center staff, we need more time to make meaningful improvements. It takes time to improve quality. And so we heard you, we've changed it. But there wasn't a really good way for us to sort of track everyone's date in order for them to get through that process. And so this statement, as of this morning, will be on your case details page, and it will tell you this is the date 240 days after you applied for your self-reflection. And that's the time frame that you as a program have to sort of move through it. So it's right in your face. Once this does not apply to you anymore, because you've moved through the process, it goes away. So you know you did the thing. So that will be there for you. And hopefully that will be helpful in tracking that information. Another
have a
update.
question.
Yes,
Sorry.
please. No, I should have
Um,
started. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. With that being said, you said it goes away if they've completed all of their stuff by the date, but what if they don't complete their stuff? Is it gonna say, oh, you missed your date? Or because that can be confusing if it also goes away because they missed it.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I'm not quite sure. My sense is it would go away because the case closes. And so there's nothing more that you as a provider can do to move it forward except start a new case. So the good news is it is the Resource Center staff's job to pay attention to this and to support you with it, right? It's here for you to see too, to pay attention because you are responsible for going through the process, but it will just close and it will go away. And so what will happen is you will now have an expiration date, right? So it closes on 8/7/2024. Wherever you are in the process, that is the quality level that you will have until your expiration date for that level.
Thank you.
You bet. Other questions? Yeah, so Lily, I just want to thank you for that note in the chat. I just want to clarify that the new expiration date will show. I almost said that. Did you see me catch myself? Because that is not true. The expiration date, sort of. So if the program were in enhancing quality and they've been in enhancing quality for 3 months, that enhancing quality level has a 2-year valid through date. And so it would be valid through from the time they got into enhancing quality. So it's not really it's a new published rating, or excuse me, quality level expiration date. But it's not new-ish. So just, it's confusing, right? It's not new to that case. So we'll work through it, I promise. Amy, I'm glad that you loved it. I hope others love it too. Other questions? All right. Another enhancement in the system, and this I think will be exciting. So in the past, when a program was going through validation, and perhaps they had a validation call and there was some things that were incomplete, the program really couldn't adjust or make comments unless they deleted something and then re-uploaded it. It was really cumbersome and not intuitive at all. And so that has changed, and we'll be able to edit comments and things like that without the deleting and the uploading. So it saves you all time. It's much easier for validators as well. And so we hope that that is a good change for you all. Any questions about that? All right. So this feature has been in the system for several months, but I don't think we've talked about it. We've had lots of guest speakers and specific topics we've talked about. And I just wanted to reiterate to you all that throughout the system, as you're sort of moving along in the process, there are lots of places where we have linked our YouTube videos that include demos about that specific place where you are in the process. So if you see the one that we're pointing to here, it really is talking about how to resubmit when you're in the incomplete status for the self-reflection. So, but you'll see these highlighted, bolded links throughout as you go through the process. So no, you click on that and you can see the video right there. You don't have to go searching for it or go to our YouTube page. So hopefully that will be more efficient for you all as well. Any questions about that one? Excellent. Okay. It is your turn. So like I said, I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see all of you better. But this would be the time, Marcy, for you to ask your question. And again, happy to answer anything related to Great Start to Quality. If there's something that I am unsure of, I will certainly take a note and get back to you all about what that answer might be, but it is your time. Marcy, do you want to start us off if you're available? I know it's nap time. It's a time to get stuff done. Others have questions about the process or feedback. Certainly, we would love that also.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm in the validation process, waiting for them to come in and assess our program. And so on the info you said about the expiration date, now hopefully we won't run over no 200 days, but would that affect if they're slow getting to us to validate our program?
That is an excellent question. And the answer is no. So that 240-day date actually stops when you go into validation, because at that point you can't control it. That's all on us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that really is that time marker. So as long as you're in validation, if that's what you choose to do, some programs would prefer not to go into validation, and that's just fine. Yep, once you're in that space, that 240 days stops, and then it's just on us to get out to you as soon as we can. Yeah.
Well,
great.
thank you. That's good to hear. Thank you.
You bet. Other questions? It's the busyness, right? I'm gonna go grab that link for you all, so we can at least be. Let's see here, and this will be to the Great Start to Quality public page. And this is where you can log in. And if you need help logging in, Resource Center can help you with that. But this is where you would go to enter your cell phone and check that box. And again, update any other information that is helpful. Megan, I see your hand raised. Go right ahead.
Hi, so this is my first time through this process. So right now I am enhancing quality, and I am in the case status of in self-reflection review. So does that mean that I have to go through it again? What I previously went through for the first self-reflection is just confusing.
Yeah, great clarification. Excellent question. So if you think about this, the quality improvement process, the first time you did this, the self-reflection was really to say, where am I in this moment? What are the things I'm doing? Right. And then you make your goals. And in theory, you've likely changed some of your indicators, right? You've met some of those goals. Sometimes they don't connect with the self-reflection, and that's totally fine. But let's say they did. and you've made changes to your self-reflection. And so that is what you're doing now, that you're in self-reflection review, is that you're updating those indicators to reflect what's actually true now that you've made some updates. So it might be one indicator, it might be two. And again, for some, it might not be any, and you submit it the way it is, and that's okay. But that is the point for that space. And it's not that you're having to re-upload. It's the very exact same self-reflection that you submitted the first time. So
Okay,
you're
so I
just
don't
you're
have to-
just making adjustments if you need to.
Oh, I make an adjustment. So what if I did, what if I put something, I did it as a goal, we completed it, but then there's some things we added for where it said I would like to add it to my quality improvement plan. Can we decide that we would like to wait on that, or does that stay like that once we redo the self-reflection?
So I'm going to answer the question I think you're asking. So the first time you submitted your self-reflection, you chose not currently meeting, put it on my QIP.
Yeah.
And that's great. And what I think you're saying is you haven't completed all of those yet,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine, as long as you've completed at least one
Mhm.
and marked it for coach review. And
Okay.
again, it doesn't have to be, let's say you selected those choices and you made a totally different goal that didn't come directly from the self-reflection, and that's the one you completed. That's okay too.
Okay, so then what happens to the ones that I didn't complete, that I said that I would like to on the quality improvement plan?
Well, so I would say, I mean, this is your plan. And so if you haven't completed it and you want to move the due date out because you need more time, you can do that. If you want to discard it and start from, create a new goal, that's okay too. But just because you haven't completed it by the time you submit your self-reflection for the second time, doesn't mean you have to stop. It sort of carries, it's forever. The QIP is separate from the quality levels, right? It's a continuous process. You can just leave it there and work on it, or make something new.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. What else are folks thinking about?
I'm sorry, I think I have another question.
Do not apologize. Keep them coming.
Um, so say we're at, like right now, so we're at a 3-star. And we get our on-site visit. What happens to the quality rating? So how do we ever go down from the visit that they give us the observation, or do we go up, or do we stay the same? I am confused on that part.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I'm actually going to pull the, let's look at that slide again. Mostly because I'm a visual learner, and so I'm just going to ask that you bear with me. All right. Let me get you all back here. Okay, so you're here, and this is this fuchsia or magenta? I get the two confused. Enhancing quality, right? So when you are ready and you submit your self-reflection that you've adjusted it's the second one, right? Then your coach at the resource center moves you into a status that pushes you into validation. So if you do that, you're saying I'm ready for validation and I'm ready for my on-site observation, because it's a package deal. And so once you become validated, then you move into this pink one, right? That will be your quality level, and that is what we'll publish. If you didn't have one before that you're maintaining, that is where you will sit. If you're maintaining, it just depends on where you were before. So that will be true. And then you would move into the on-site observation and demonstrating quality depends on the scores that you get for all of the observations that your program receives. And so if you meet the threshold scores, then you would move into demonstrating quality. So at this point, your trajectory is sort of around the process, right? Some folks would say up, but it's continuous. If you didn't meet the threshold scores, then you would stay at that enhancing quality level, right? And then you sort of move back through whenever the program is ready. Those quality levels are valid for 2 years. And again, you have that sort of 240 days to move through the process again. And so that's sort of how it works. Does that answer your question, or do you have something else that you want to sort of tag on?
No, I think that makes sense. I just wanted to make sure that like it didn't go like completely down to like maintaining and I have to start all over again. But that completely makes sense. The only way it would go completely down to maintaining the health and safety is just if we stopped going through the process, I'm assuming, right?
There's a couple of things I'll say about that. So if that 240 days from the time that you applied and got your self-reflection ends, then you would stay where you are. So enhancing quality. So you wouldn't go down, you would just stay where you are. The way that you get to maintaining health and safety again is if the case that currently has an expiration date expires, like if you don't do anything before that happens, or the program gets into some kind of negative licensing status, so second or third provisional, the quality level goes away. And then the program would have to start again if they came back into a positive status.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, Jessica, I see your hand up. I want to read a message in the chat real quick. Okay, Jessica, please, what might we help you with?
I'm with a center that has reached enhancing quality validated level,
Okay,
and it shows our certificate has validation through October of 2025. What window of time do I have where it's not too early to start the process, but I don't want it to expire in order to begin again to possibly move to demonstrating quality? Is it like a 6-month time window where it's recommended, 3-month time window?
yes, great question. So here's what I would say. You have until the day before, that's why you have a valid through date, until 11:59 to apply for the self-reflection to maintain it, to maintain your, I want to say prior, because you would have started a new case, but the quality level that you currently have. Would I recommend that? I'm not the kind of person that likes to wait to the last minute. So I would say no. But know that once you do that, then you have that 240 days to get back into that validation space and maintain the prior rating. So I really think extending that sort of timeline from 180 to 240 gives you a lot of flexibility to think about what's best for your program. Like, it never seems like there's quite a quiet time, but there are, ebbs and flows in programs. And so that gives you a little bit of flexibility. If it's better to start now, you can. If you want to wait till February of next year, you can. And anybody can come through the process at any point at this time. So it's really up to you. As long as you get through in that 240 days. So excellent. All right. What other questions, Amy?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to kind of piggyback, Christy, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So, from the like resource center point of view, I also want to share it's totally up to you how much of that 240 days you need. So if you are able to get your first self-reflection completed, like the first time you sit down, it only takes a couple of hours. Maybe you only need a month or two to work on the goal that you set. So now we're talking like it's taken you maybe 90 days to finish everything and submit for validation and observation. So you have 240 days, but your timeline and what works best for you and your program and your staff, that is all dependent on you and working with your specialist and your coach at your resource center. So I just wanted to share that too. Like, yes, you have 240 days, but you don't have to take 240 days to do it.
Thank you for sharing that. Excellent point. Yeah, and the reason that we sort of extended that is we know what the environment is like at the field, right? Lots of turnover, directors change, programs close, whatever the thing is. And so really wanted to give grace, particularly in those kinds of situations, knowing not every program needs that much time. So thank you, Amy. Other questions or comments? Anyone have any feedback for myself and our team about how the process is going? Maybe barriers that you're seeing along the way, frustrations that you're running into, anything that would help us. I think I was trying to demonstrate, we're really open to making shifts and making sure that you all have what you need to improve the quality of your care for your children and families. So help us do better. What thoughts might you have?
I have a comment. I just want to give a shout out to Stephanie because it was kind of fusing to me. And so we had to keep calling her and asking her, hey, are we doing this right? And stuff like that. So I want to thank Stephanie for her help because it's a little stressing sometimes, especially when you're in this field and you're already dealing with, different things and children and making sure, everything is going right, especially nowadays. So thank you all for the patience.
Well, thank you, Diane, for the shout out. I know that means a lot to our staff. They take this work very seriously, and we know what you're going through. We've all been either educators or directors or all of the above and have lived it and know the stresses of the sick kid and the
Yeah.
upset parent and trying to make it all work. So I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
Thank-
All right, I'm seeing some stuff in the chat, so I'm going to read it out loud. Help with how to best ensure our staff are hitting each PD indicator within the 12-month window and ensuring they complete the licensing hours. Makes your head hurt. Excellent, Marcy. Thank you for bringing that up. And so this has been, I'm going to say, a conflict of this work since I've been in this position and trying to think about that alignment. And so what I want to offer, maybe not stress, but offer, is that this kind of thing is part of the reason we reimagine the process, because what we don't want to be true is for folks to feel stressed or feel like it's punitive if you don't get the thing. And so, yes, we have proration opportunities. Nicole, I don't know if you are able to share the link to the that professional development document we have on the website. I'd appreciate that. But just know if you don't get all the things, it's okay, and you will still move through the process. The point of the indicators is for all of us to understand what is high quality and to reach for it. And if we can't quite get there, it's okay. It's not going to stop you from moving through the process. So I want you to take a breath and know that it is okay. And continuing to work towards that is really the goal of this process. So Anita, I wonder if yours is the same. Let's see. We asked about professional development for part-time college students that are back at school and only here for the summer. Do they have to get the 24 hours of professional development too? Nicole, I think you popped on and off. I don't know if you have a minute to answer this one, or if we can make a note of it and get back.
Yeah, I was looking for that PD guide to be able to share it, so I'll share that in the chat in a minute. Yeah, so we're looking at the staff when a program is in validation from the time that you submit and are ready to move forward with validation. So there's a report right in your self-reflection that shows the staff, and it locks at the time you submit. So that's what the validators are looking at. So we're looking at the staff that are currently there in the program. And then we prorate for their length of time with the program. So if they're there for not the full year, what we would encourage you to do is update their dates of employment in my registry. So make sure that they have a start date and an end date if they leave for part of the year, and then they come back. That way we're only looking at the professional development for the time that they're actually there. So for staff that have been there less than a year, we prorate, and for staff that are under 90 days, we're not requiring any professional development because we know it takes time to get in and get those things in place. Same with qualification staff that have been there less than 90 days. We don't look for that. It's not required because we know they have to get through the process in my registry. So hoping that answered it, but happy to clarify more if needed.
Thank you, Nicole. And I found the link. So that is now in the chat. So hopefully that helps you sort of see the things that you need for the indicators. Excellent questions. What else?
I have a question to go off of what we just talked about.
Yeah.
So I'm a newly open center, so we opened up in May. So my girls are just getting to almost to their 90 days. So couple of those PD trainings, where it says within those 12 months, like we can't accommodate for right now, but those were connected to my quality improvement plan. So just seeing how does that pan out for us with that?
Yeah, I think again, it sort of goes back to you can only do what you can do, right? And if it wasn't one of the things you checked off in your quality improvement plan, keep it there. Get them registered. If it doesn't happen until May, or maybe there's not something on the calendar, that would be a conversation with your resource center to say, hey, I'm really looking for this kind of PD and I don't see anything in my registry. Can you help me out with that? They're happy to do that. So I wouldn't sweat it. I would keep it on your QIP and keep pushing forward with it.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
You bet. Lots of great questions. What else? Anita's asking, do we disconnect them from my registry and leave them on the background check while they're gone? Ooh, they want to return next summer. That's a good question. And I know, Nicole, we've done a couple of different things. So maybe you want to share what's currently true.
Yeah, this is a great question. And I would say it's still okay to end date them because that's what's going to update for the professional development. So I'm not sure how that impacts with other pieces, Christy, to be honest. So if you have further thoughts or if any of the other validators, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think thank you for sharing that, Nicole. I think as far as great start to quality, that is just fine. If I think about the purpose of my registry is really for sort of data collection and for us to sort of track what's happening in the field so we can better advocate for wages and things like that. And so for us to be able to see this particular person, worked at this program from the state to the state and the state to the state and the state to the state, that's very accurate. And so that really probably is the best practice for all of us to just keep accurate records. So end dating would be best. Yeah, thanks, Nicole.
Yeah, and I can add another point. One of the other validators messaged me too. If a program chooses to have a validation call, we do confirm the staff during that call. So if you have staff that are at the program, but you didn't end date them, or maybe somebody is out on a medical leave, we have staff on maternity leave. If you report that to us during the validation call, we certainly will take that into consideration as well. So know that it won't count against you in that capacity. But if you don't have a validation call, then you certainly will want to end date them because we wouldn't know that. And we would be looking for that professional development as well. So
Excellent point. Thank you all. Amy, I'm happy to read this. A lot of people look at the self-reflection like they have to be hitting all of the things to be high quality, but not hitting everything can still make you a very high quality program. Stress less about hitting all the marks right away and think about where we are now and where we want to go. It won't happen overnight, and improvement can take years, and that is okay. That is the truth. That is the point of this process. It is a journey. We use that word a lot. So if you have been a part of Great Start to Quality for quite some time, the last system was very punitive. I will admit I'm an A+ student. I get it. You want to do all the things right the first time and always. And so that can't always be true, particularly in our field and the way things ebb and flow. And so give yourself some grace. Be clear about the things that you're currently doing and know it's okay where you are, because what is important to remember is that every parent wants something different. And so in this process, your validated self-reflection is shared with families on that public search page. And it's really easy for families to see Susie does these 12 things, which is fine. Sally does these 3 things. These 3 things are really important to me as a parent. And so even though Sally's got this all this other good stuff going on, this might be a better option for my child. And so families really get to define quality in some ways. So do what you're doing and do it well and do what makes sense for the children and families you serve. Yeah, Anita. I mean, that is the reality, right? Quality levels are connected to scholarship. That is the truth. Maybe that won't be true someday, but until then, we want to move through the process. But know, Anita, that you still don't have to meet all of the indicators to get to enhancing quality validated and to meet the threshold scores and demonstrating quality. So again, it doesn't have to be A+ to continue to serve families in that way. So. Sherry is sharing, and I'm reading this because we're recording and I want to make sure that everybody's able to understand what's going on in the chat. It has been my experience that we were told to disconnect the person from the background check to your child care. So I'm just going to stop right there because background checks are related to child care licensing, which has less to do with my registry and Great Start to Quality. And so if that has been told to you, then that should be true because that is childcare licensing, and whatever they say about background checks is good. My registry is really about employment. And so there's sort of 2 different things. So just to be clear, whatever guidance you've been given about background checks, do that thing. Thank you for sharing that, because that I'm sure is confusing. Lots of systems, lots of guidance. Other questions or wonderings or frustrations that we can address?
I have some. I have a comment to make.
Absolutely.
Okay, it kind of goes back to the comment that was made about the subsidies and how it's tied to the child care scholarship, like your rating. And if your rating is revoked due to a licensing provisional, second provisional, third provisional, that it is because you no longer have your rating, you're not getting that higher subsidy rate, which then therefore affects the families, not necessarily the center, but the families. And it does feel very punitive, and it's not usually an indicator of quality. Sometimes it's an incident that happened that particular moment of time, but it's not an overall indication of the center as a whole at their everyday operations. I just have to speak my piece because it happened to us, and it does feel very punitive. It does hurt the families, which is not, I believe, the intent of any of that. And it is not a true, usually, I mean, I'm sure maybe it is a real reflection of some centers, but overall, I think that because of whatever put that center on a provisional, it was a, just that moment of time that something happened, but is not an everyday, not an indicator of their overall quality in everyday operations. So I do really hope that does change in the future.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Erin.
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, and I think too, to speak on the background check thing. I was just on a call last week, the area, the Southwest region for licensing. So our area supervisor was speaking, and that was a question that actually came up. Do we need to disconnect our summer people, our college students that that intend to come back next summer over breaks? And the answer was no. Obviously, sometimes different consultants can give different answers. So I would double check with your consultant, but that is what our area supervisor had said to the Southwest region. So just throwing that out there as well.
Appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
And I will acknowledge that is frustrating for families. Absolutely. I will also say, and it's really not to pass the buck. It's just to share what is true. That is not a great start to quality policy as far as when quality levels are removed or revoked, as it were. That is a federal rule because the dollars that families receive are federal dollars. And so that guidance comes from way up high. To your point, if it wasn't connected to our quality levels, it would be a non-issue, but know that it is out of our hands. It's not really a licensing rule. It's a federal funding guide. So
yeah, I'm aware. It's just
okay.
it's kind of my soapbox since it's happened. It's got to fall on the right ears, and I feel like when we're in, I just like to speak it. Getting a provisional is very humbling and embarrassing, but I know after some time and reflection, it is not a reflection of our center a day to day. It was something that happened, unfortunately. It was addressed and handled and taken care of, but here we are again. I got families paying out of pocket again, which we hadn't had in a long time. So it's hurting them, not necessarily us. So
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Sharing that experience.
Mm-hmm.
We are getting close to time. This has been really good dialogue. Any other questions or wonderings? All right, I do have a couple more slides to share, if you can believe it. And so let me get back to such a process. Sorry, guys. All right, so the next opportunity for time together is not until October. It will go by fast. And so would love for you all to throw this on your calendar. I want to get back to the chat here so I can put this link in. Here is the registration link. If you are so inclined, we would certainly love to do this again. I do want to remind you all of some of the resources that are available to you. So certainly our Great Start to Quality website. If you have questions about process, PD, that PD link I got came right from our website. It's all in there. Sometimes it's hard to find. So again, Resource Center staff can help guide you with those needs. Our Facebook page, if you've been around, you've probably been connected to our Great Start to Quality Facebook page for providers. We have shared that we have also created a Facebook page for families. And so would love for you all to join that as well, to be able to share some of that information out with families as a marketing piece. We're going to spend a lot of time on that page, really helping families understand what Great Start to Quality is, what the quality levels mean, why it's important to them and their family, how to search for care, all that good stuff. And our YouTube page with all of our demonstration videos. These recordings, we do record the quality connections and post them there as well. So lots of good resources all around. I do want to ask you all to take a brief survey that will come up through Zoom after we're done here. We've been doing this for, the link says, uh-oh, thanks, Anita. That's not good. I'll be sure to get you the correct link when I send you the recording from this opportunity. So thanks for letting me know. I would love for you all to take a brief survey to tell us about this time together. This is really meant for you all. And I want to make sure that we're giving you space for questions and giving you the information that you need. I want to understand if the timing is right. We try to do things at nap time. Maybe this isn't a great time. So if you could just take the 3 minutes to complete that, we would really appreciate it. And we will see you all in October. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a great one. Bye, everyone.